The difference between a coach that makes $1 million a month and one that barely cracks $10,000 comes down to one single thing. And it's not their niche, it's not a funnel or even like a playbook. It's where they put their energy. And after working closely with over 80 school game winners, these are entrepreneurs making anywhere from 50 to over 100K per month, I found one thing that they all prioritize. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that is and how you can apply it into your business so you can succeed in 2026. Now, if you're new here, welcome to the Content Playbook, the entrepreneur's guide to building a 6- and 7-figure personal brand through the power of your videos. And I always like to start my episodes with the most important thing first. What every $1 million coach, consultant, entrepreneur that I've worked with in my 8 years creating content for $1 million personal brands is this, okay? That the strategy that they have isn't about choosing or doing more. It's actually doing less. It's picking what matters. And Alex Hormozi defines this the best. I'm going to read the definition for you, what he says. Alex Hormozi defines strategy as the prioritization of limited resources, time, energy, money, against unlimited options. So put simply, it's what not to do versus what more to do. Right? And so the highest leverage decision you can make in your business right now is actually to create content so strong that it sells for you. So I want you to think of this. Strong content equals easy sales. Weak content equals hard sales. Now, the people that are making $100,000 per month and more understand this like you wouldn't believe. And after you see it, you can't unsee it, because the coaches and consultants and entrepreneurs that barely crack in 10K spend all their time on funnels and their offers and building a sales team and follow-up sequences. And this is because their content is weak. And so they're trying to compensate for that weak messaging, the weak content, and compensate it with all the bells and whistles of business. But like I said, the coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs that are making millions have simplified things, and they allow their content to do all the heavy lifting. So if they have a sales call, it's a breeze. It's not even a call anymore. It's not even a sales process. It's an onboarding process. One of my clients, Dan Bolton, he makes $144,000 a month with no sales calls, meaning people watch a video, read a Google Doc, and then sign up with him. And this is part of the reason why I think so many of us are stuck. They are trying to do more when really the answer is doing less. One piece of content that truly connects, that shifts a belief, that speaks directly to why someone's stuck is way more impactful than any funnel can ever be. So don't ask yourself, what's the strategy? Ask yourself, what's the content that fuels my strategy? And so in this video, I want to walk you through the 3 things that all of these entrepreneurs, these coaches, consultants, all do differently in their content that make their strategy work. Because I'm going to reveal something to you. Every strategy can work, okay? At the end of this video, I'm going to reveal the 3-step content funnel, the 3-step content strategy that they do, right? Very simple, but it's nothing special. What's special about it is the content that fuels it, because as I said, content equals easy sales. Even Gary Vee talks about the greatest funnel is your personal brand. Well, what do you think builds a personal brand in 2026? It's your content. So let's get into the 3 things that actually create so strong content that sales are effortless. So the first step in actually creating this $1 million content funnel, this content strategy, isn't the strategy at all. It's actually your identity. And I'll share a story to help you understand what I mean. So last year, I was hired by School.com, ran from Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens. They flew me out for 6 months straight. Okay, 6 months straight. I got to work with 80 plus of their school game winners, which is a competition of entrepreneurs competing to make the most amount of money in a month. And as I shared, they were making anywhere from like 50K per month to like 150K per month. Like, these are people making multiple 6, if not 7-figure businesses in a very short amount of time. And the interesting thing was a lot of them, were using the same kind of platforms, same kind of playbooks. The differences was never like their knowledge or tactics. It was always their identity. And I want you to think about this. When you're creating content, what are you capturing? You're capturing you, your essence, who you are. So when I looked at the differences between people's videos, the videos were the same. The editing was the same. The platforms were the same. So, and their knowledge was the same. Like, there was even a 16-year-old who made $30K per month. Do you think a 16-year-old knows more than you? has more accolades, more experience than you? No. So what makes these entrepreneurs different was they identified as an authority. They identified as a leader, not as a beginner. And I would argue that the reason why your content isn't performing isn't the bells and whistles of the content. It's how you show up. It's how you see yourself, because how you see yourself is how the world sees you. So where so many entrepreneurs are trying to keep up with Alex Mosey and Gary Vee and post, 100 pieces of content a day, the ones that are actually succeeding are not trying to keep up. They're figuring out how to show up as themselves, show up as an authority, as the leader. Because that's what people want. People don't want a teacher. People want to follow someone, a leader. We're not selling a program. We're selling a transformation, a promise, a better life, a better business, a new way of doing things, right? We want our business and life to be easier. And their content is just the vehicle to do that. The content is the frame, but what they're buying is the picture. And you are the picture. So again, if you see yourself, if you identify, you look in the mirror and you think yourself as like, I'm a beginner. I don't know how to create content. I'm not really good at sales. I don't know how to do these things. And that's how you're going to show up in your content. How you show up is how people receive you. So if a 16-year-old can make $30,000 a month and win the school games, why can't you? By changing your identity, changing your perspective, your beliefs, you are literally changing the results of your content. So the lesson I need you to take away from this is that identity is the strategy. The way to succeed and convert more in your content is by actually identifying as someone that is worth following. I like to say this quote that content creation is a journey of becoming someone worth chasing, worth being followed. That's why I love content. It's a self-reflection tool into who you truly are. And it's a way for you to improve and become a better communicator, a better storyteller, a better persuader, and an influential brand, all these things. Now, let's take a stop for a second. I bet you're probably wondering, okay, Kyler, that makes sense to me. I get it. But how do I actually create the content? Like, I understand fundamentally, okay, I need to show up as an authority, and it's not the content that makes me authority, it's how I show up that makes me authority. But then what do I put in the videos? So this is where step 2 comes in. The entrepreneurs that are making millions are not teaching, they're transforming. So I'm going to make this point a little bit easier for you to understand, okay? So a teacher, I guess, like in a way, they transfer information from their head to your head, okay? That's like the best, simplest version I can think of. Where a leader is not transferring info, they're transferring belief from their world to yours, okay? So information doesn't change people. Belief does. If information is all we needed, you probably heard this before, then we'd all be rich with 6-packs, okay? I'd be freaking chiseled if all I needed was info, okay? But reality is we need more belief than anything else. So I'm going to share a story about Tony Robbins. I remember attending one of his first, it was my first webinar attending of his. And, I heard about Tony Robbins. He's one of the, most highly sought out for, paid, most famous coaches out there. Interesting thing, he was talking about in his webinar, he was sharing about how he himself isn't the smartest coach. He doesn't have the most certificates, doesn't have the most frameworks, doesn't even have the most credibility. He's not the best coach out there. But no one can argue that he's not the most known. No one can argue with his results in his masterminds and his programs where people leave saying, they don't say, I learned something. They say, this changed my life. This totally transformed my business. So this is the distinction. Tony doesn't teach people. He transforms people's behaviors, people's identities, people's beliefs. That's why he gets his results. That's why he's the most successful coach on the planet, and why he's making billions of dollars and arguably one of the biggest personal brands isn't because of teaching. Guys, AI can teach us the shit. If you are creating content that just teaches tips and tricks, you will always be left behind. You will never be the thought leader, never be the go-to person, never be the authority that you deserve, because you get results. You get people results. But in your content, what will get people to buy and pay you and take your advice is how you transform them, how you break their beliefs. So this is what I want you to take away with. Stop educating and start elevating. A teacher fills your head where a leader changes your heart. I think the quote goes like, people buy with emotion and justify with logic. That's the quote. And that plays into this really, really well. That you cannot teach people things. You have to transform their behaviors, their beliefs, and their identity. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Kylie, this, again, making more sense. I'm getting it. How do I do this? How do I transform their belief in my content? Because what are you supposed, if you're not teaching them, then what are you sharing in the videos, right? Like, what does that look like from a tactical level? So now I'm going to put my teaching hat on, because now I've shifted your belief and your perspective that strong content equals easy sales, and that your content will only convert when you identify as someone that can help you identify as a leader, as the authority. So I've shifted your beliefs. Now I'm ready to teach you something. I'm ready to actually give you the framework to make this happen. So this is what the millionaire entrepreneurs do. They don't lead with what, they lead with why. I want you to repeat after me. They don't lead with what, they lead with why. What does that mean? Whys lead to buys. What leads to buts? Like buts, like, but, oh, I can't afford it. Or, but, I gotta talk to my wife. But, I gotta do this, right? When you lead with why, that's what creates buyers. This is what this means, okay? Here's a perfect example, okay? Let's say you wanna buy a car. Now, all cars do the same thing. They get you from point A to point B. They all have 4 wheels. They'll all have 4 doors. They'll have, automatic, a lot of it's the same, right? You're buying a car. But why do some people pay $100,000 for a car versus some people pay $15,000 for a car? Well, this is to my point about whys lead to buys. People buy cars because of status, because of speed, because of safety, and there's a million and one reasons why we buy cars. But it's not about what the purpose of the car is. The purpose of a car is get you from point A to point B, but that's not why we buy it. We buy it because whys are our reasons why we buy. So many people on YouTube in their content are talking about what they do, what the features are, what the benefits are. When you lead with why, you are tapping into the heart and the psychological deep desires that they have to buying your product, your offer. That is the unlock. This is what the top entrepreneurs are doing. They are not telling you what, they are leading with the why. This again leads to why information isn't what we need, because again, the whats are just telling us what it is, what the ingredients are, what is the elements of it. It's just info. It's nothing special about it. There's no reason why AI or anyone that can just regurgitate information. It's the whys to why we buy. Whys lead to buys. What lead to buts, which is objections. So if you want objection-less calls, you need to start leading with whys. And here's another example, okay? Just another story just to prove this point, okay? I was working with someone who had 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, more than me. Yet he was struggling to make 6 figures in his business. So he knew how to get attention, but he was struggling to convert this attention. This is what I want you to understand. 2 different skill sets in getting attention and converting attention. He mastered getting attention. He was getting 10,000, 50,000 views in his videos, but then barely any book calls. And then when he got in the calls, it was so hard to sell them, right? So here's the thing that we worked through. What we figured out was he was doing this, leading with whats. And that led to people giving him buts, excuses, objections. So he had 2 routes he could go down. He could go down the sales route where he could, study to become an excellent objection handler, salesperson, persuasion, and that is one route, and it can work, right? There's people making millions of dollars through that route. But what he decided, and what we were working on together, was go through the content route, where he would rather create such high, powerful, strong content that when he got to the call, it wasn't a sales call, it was an onboarding call. And so it's not that one way is better or worse, it's just what is the most authentic version of you. For me, I like the content route. I don't want to persuade someone or convince someone to do something they don't want to do. And that's just my own personal belief. But if you want to have such strong content where sales are effortless and your business is growing because content is simple and then growth is predictable and freedom is inevitable, then you got to lead with why. So now that you have all three that make strong content, identity is a strategy, transformation over teaching, leading with why, now you are able to implement the strategy that makes this all work. So the strategy is quite simple. This is like, maybe might break your mind, maybe not, but there's three parts to the strategy. And they all did this in some way or not. Like they're, you can switch out certain things in each phase, but they all followed this 3 simple step process. Okay. Step number 1 was they all created content, obviously, right? Some did paid ads, some did organic, some did a mix. They all created content. And the content is what made this successful, as I showed before. They focused on those 3 things. The interesting thing that they did was they all led content to something in the middle, because what most people do is they create content and send them to a landing page. So basically you're asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's like, hey, I made this piece of content. Let's go get married, right? Let's buy my offer. That's a mistake people make. And so they had an in-between step. They went from content to what I like to call connection. The connection phase is all about building trust. So this event, let's say, would look like this: a free discovery call, a webinar, a challenge, a free community, right? This middle step was the step that helped build trust. And the reason this is because Google did a study that it takes on average 7 hours of content in order to gain enough trust. So if you just send people from content to your conversion, which is your landing page, why it's so hard is because they're coming in cold, they're coming in untrusted. So you need to warm them up. You need to pre-sell them. And so the second phase in this process is content to connection, the connection that builds trust. So what I did in my personal business that helped me get to $20,000 in 37 days was I offered a free strategy call. Now, this wasn't like a mask, like, it's a strategy call that's actually a sales call. I legit gave them free coaching. So I had them fill out a form, and I would audit their content. I would take about 30 to an hour to review the form, review their videos, and then on the call, I would give them my best advice in that hour. And something funny happened. 2 out of the 3 calls that I would get on average in a week would ask me at the end of this call, I want to know what you do. What is your offer? I never pitched them. I never asked them for anything. 2 out of 3 of them asked for what I had to sell them. So of course I spent the next 10, 15 minutes explaining what I do, and 2 out of 3 people bought my offer. This is because I focused on strong content, bringing them into a simple trust building connection event, and that led to easy, effortless sales. And the interesting thing, the third person, the one person that didn't bought on that call, 2 things happened. One, if they didn't buy, I think half of them that didn't buy referred me to other people, which was really cool. The other half bought later. So 6 weeks after that call, someone booked, they took my payment link, they paid me, they emailed me saying, hey, I just bought it. When can we start? So when you dial these things in, they work. They 100% get you where you want to be. But oftentimes, if you're watching this, you may click off this video and you're going to go find another video and try to find the magic bullet, right? And I gotta tell you, after 8 years doing this and getting to work with some of the top entrepreneurs like on the freaking planet, I can tell you it's this inner work, this work that you do off of camera that will actually help your videos and your content perform 10 times more. So it's not the bells and whistles of the content, because all that's the same. We all use the same cameras. We all use similar mics. We all post on the same platforms. The thing that helps you to stand out and sell out is you. It's your identity. It's how you transform people instead of just teaching. It's how you lead with whys and how you show up every single day. Those are the things that make this work. This is why I was able to scale to $20,000 in the first 37 days of a brand new business in 2026 with under 1,000 subscribers. Guys, I don't have a ton of subscribers on this channel, and yet I'm making this kind of money. This is because I focus on the content. The content strategy that quietly is making millions is the content. This is what you need to focus on in 2026 if you want to succeed. Now, I have a workshop, a masterclass on the 5 mistakes that entrepreneurs make that keep them from being overlooked and underpaid. And so if you want to attend that, there's a link in the description. You can go check it out. But this will help you uncover a lot of these probably problems that you're seeing. Like, I don't have enough time to create content. I don't know what to say in my videos or what content to create. This will help unlock those things for you so that you can walk out of the mastermind knowing exactly what to create, how to create it, so you can perform and get your content to convert and start making sales and start building the business you know you're meant to build. This dream of you having freedom and having autonomy and not having to look at the price tag. Like, those are all things when you create content, because content creation is wealth creation. I'm like so excited. It's so crazy. This is going to be super, super cool. So if you want to attend that, it's all the links in the description. Comment what was the best part of this? What was the unlock for you? So I can make more videos like this. And yeah, this is just a new style of the podcast I'm really trying out. So love to hear your feedback in the comments. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Love you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.